So, Kathy,
yes.
let's count this as a comedy special. What number would that be for you?
24.
20 fucking 4.
Guinness Book of World Records! Because you know chicks aren't funny.
They're like Hardy Boys books. You can pick up like 9 at the library.
Yes.
Watching this back, what is the most difficult part of watching this whole experience in a documentary, and what is the most pleasurable part of it for you?
Well, obviously the most pleasurable part is hearing people laugh, because I do want to make people laugh more than anything. But the most difficult part is obviously the stuff dealing with my sister. And also, I felt it was important to keep it in there because, I kind of feel like we think we know the intensity of the Trumpansies, that's what I call them now. But I really wanted to let you guys know certain things, like point by point. So you guys you see it around, and what's crazy is, we taped this on October 29th, so the news cycle's been so nuts, some of the stuff almost seems dated. Like Sarah Huckabee seems like 5 years ago, and she went on to say like way worse shit after that. So I'm chairman of the new It Gets Worse campaign. I know it's not very positive. Gives them colored duct tape.
I feel like there are a lot of ways you could have approached this like really crazy, traumatic, Orwellian moment in your life. Why did you choose a documentary and not, say, a book? And by the way, I think Kathy has one of the best celebrity memoirs ever, official book club selection.
I do have to clarify, it was never really one of Oprah's book club selections.
I did see through that.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So why a documentary? Or pseudo-doc, I guess we'll call it.
A docu-comedy is what I call it. Because I couldn't tell the special. Because I'm still, toxic and untouchable and all this other stuff. And I thought, well, I think the material needs to be heard, and I was proud of the show. And when I would do the tour, I really was doing, if anybody came to the Dolby, I think I did like 3.5 hours or some shit. And thank you!
Full like Springsteen level. Like who operates like that?
Just me and Bruce, I guess we'll call him Bruce, as if I'd ever met him. And I, of course I am like an asshole, and I wish it could have all been 3 hours. And I thought, I was pitching it like, it's the first ever 3 hour and 40-minute special. And they're like, we don't want you for a minute. So then I heard what they call a hard pass. I heard a lot of hard no's. And so I luckily thought, well, when I was the little girl, we used to go see comedy specials in the movie theater, Carlin or Pryor. And so luckily I have a great publicist named Alex, and he single-handedly got it into South by Southwest. So now I'm an auteur. Just, I'm big in the film industry. I don't really talk to TV people. It's not personal. I can't afford to. It'll ruin my film career, which is skyrocketing because I've lost about $900,000 so far in this film. But the point is, hair and makeup is worth it, and that's where most of the money has gone. And you're all here. Thank you for your work and your lashes over the years. So I really fought and I begged because this company called Fathom, and I didn't even know this was a thing. You kids didn't even tell mommy. So I guess there's this thing called Fathom events where you guys go to one movie for one night and one showing. So they're going to do it on July 31st in 700 theaters across America.
How about that?
Like scary red cities. You know what I'm saying? In Lawrence, Kansas, there's going to be one poor gay. Just fly to Lawrence, somebody. And just hold his hand and say, you're okay, you were born this way, And there'll be like 2 housewives in Knoxville Heights, not even Knoxville, and they're gonna have to lie to their huzbands and be like, I'm going to the Reba show, or whatever they have to get through the night, and I applaud them. And so they bought it as a special, like a concert film, and then I was really hell-bent to include the literally iPhone footage taken by Randy and me, and I was like, no, well, we have this stuff that's, as we say, low res. You could see there were no microphone packs or crew, nobody wanted to do anything with me, and I had a million meetings, and I said, well, I'll never go back to unscripted, it's really difficult, and then 12 hours a day of a crew in your house and all that stuff, and I said, no, I'll go back to unscripted because I think this is an important story, and I kind of wanted to do like that. Did you watch that Leah Remini show about Scientology?
I'm a human being, of course.
Thank you. If you're living in, your blood coursing through your veins, you have to watch it.
Thetans flowing out of it.
It's heaven. Me too. I'm covered in body thetans.
Oh God.
I'm a potential trouble source. All right. So anyway. I pitched it to A&E and I said, what if we did the first season about my story, but then we could do subsequent seasons where I go and discover other people that have been screwed over in this way, and they were like, this was such a great meeting. No. Anyway, so, because I took a lot of meetings with like mid-level people, but they would kick it up to one of the old white dinosaurs. And I also want people to know there's really, sorry, they're like somewhere here. But anyway, no they're not. Like executives never come to see me. This is, like, you guys are like real people. There's no, sorry, they're like no celebrities or executives here. It's like real people that laugh. Anyway, so one of the things I also sort of am honest about, and nobody likes when I say it, but I do think most Americans don't know, and I wouldn't expect them to, there's literally just a group of about 8 old white dudes that control everything that you watch. And they're the decision makers, and they're the same fucking dudes. Like, they're literally the same guys 20 years ago that said you're too ugly and your nose is too big. Like, those same dudes, you know, were like, no, we can't touch you. You know, and so I literally couldn't sell a special anywhere. And then when Fathom bought it, I really like bit and scratched, and I kept adding. I was like, can I start with 5 minutes of doc footage? And then I fought to get like the first third part, and that's what people I think are like sort of find, well, this, like the no makeup scenes is rough. But I'm glad they let me put it in, so I'm very grateful that they let me show the raw, real-time shit. Because you have to catch that stuff in real time. Like, one thing I know for unscripted is you can't go back and like interview people, like what was it like? You have to get that stuff in real time. And it was real. I'm still scared of that guy on the bridge.
Now, like, the movie does a good job of documenting how you got back into stand-up, especially after it seemed like you wouldn't work or whatever. Did you ever have a moment where you thought, I will pivot away from stand-up for a long time and find some other, like you'll write another book, or did you have any other plan B in mind? Or did you just like waiting it out until you could fucking do stand-up again?
Well, first of all, I'm actually still in that process.
Okay.
So I do not have a day of paid work ahead of me the rest of my life. And the reason I'm honest about that is because, first of all, I don't think there's a point in not being honest. And second of all, you know, I don't want people to think I'm too busy. And I'm not. I've got nothing but time. Anyway, so I also talk about money a lot more since this experience, and I'll tell you why. Like, I'm going to sound like an asshole, but the reason is I do feel there's such a double standard for men and women, especially in this industry, but in all industries. And, you know, I've made about $75 million over my career, and they were all fucking happy to take their 10% all those years before I joined ISIS. And by the way, can I just say this is my favorite joke, and it's taken me a year to be able to say this. So now when I'm confronted and people tell me to go back to ISIS, I go, I worked in the gift shop for a week. Thank you. Oh my God, thank you for laughing. I was nervous. So I just, more than anything, I still don't feel like it's time to go back on a tour. You know, and typically I tour so much that I honestly only take like maybe 2 months off in between. So something in my gut is telling me it's not time yet. And when I do, I will always throw a nod to this, you know, because I mean, it's gonna be with me, it's gonna be in my obituary and all that stuff. And I will always give a nod to it, but of course I want to be able to talk about whatever you guys want to laugh about. And that's always been the gauge. It's really that simple. It's before I was on television, I talked about like what guys I was banging or my family, and then I got on television and I talked about celebrities more, and now this happened and it's put me more in a political sphere. And that's actually one of the good things, is I've gotten to meet a lot of journalists I really respect, and I have had to have a lot of conversations, and I kind of like, one thing I'm sort of grateful now, took me a long time, I do feel like this experience did give my actual act like a little more meat on the bone. I mean, I'm still gonna talk about the Kardashians and being next, there's one of them now, that's Chris. That's Chris.
Dressed like the Red Baron. Yeah.
She took 10 minutes of flying class, and now she's just bought she bought the airspace. You guys, she bought the airspace today. But I will always talk about, you know, all that stuff. But I also, like I said, I'm now on sort of a mission. Like, for me to, like, I gave a First Amendment speech at Oxford, the university.
Stephen Hawking level here.
I didn't even go to college. So I actually like doing shit like that, but I still want to be funny first. So I hope I work again. I am not, and here's why I'm not going to write a book. And once again, I'm being an asshole. A big part of my mission my whole life, and especially for the younger women in any industry, LGBT folks, people of color, because this administration has marginalized so many groups, and you're one of them, and you know what I'm talking about. And so one of the other reasons I haven't even written a book on spec is I don't want to work for free anymore. Like, no offense, I did that for 15 fucking years. And it was great. I did everybody's student film, and I was in the Groundlings where I paid to be in the Groundlings, and I loved it, and I met great people and learned a lot. But I'm gonna kind of wait it out. So you're actually correct. It's an odd situation. I've taken a million meetings. I have written scripts, I want to produce ideas, I want to be in things and stuff, but I'm just not willing to, like I've actually done a bunch of shit for free for 2 years, and now I'm like, all right, let's see how this movie goes. I don't know what'll happen, but I have a lot of funny ideas. Yeah. They're all really funny.
Surprise, surprise.
Oh, you.
Now, we were talking backstage, we were talking about how like the fallout from this isn't over, the recovery isn't over. You have a wild situation going on.
Well, one of the things that, as you know,
Pay attention. Here we go.
Yeah, so one of the things that, as you know, I reiterate in the film a few times, and I really do want you guys to know, like, did you guys know the thing about the phone and the SIM card? Yeah, I think a lot of people thought, like for example, during the Muslim ban, a lot of electeds couldn't even get through TSA, and I remember thinking, yeah, they actually don't. Like my beloved, Bennett went to the airport in Booker, and they couldn't get in, and then I started reading that, oh no, they can't take your SIM card, and I called someone who used to work for Secretary Jay Johnson, who was the head of Homeland Security during Obama, and he gave me great advice. And he said, don't be fooled. They can absolutely do that. And I took off all my porn. I'm kidding. That's for you boys.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I love you. And so it's just important to me to let you guys know that is still the case. And as we are witnessing with the atrocities at the concentration camps, and I'm going to use the word because I believe that's what they are, and we need to not use words like detention centers. And I want people to know things like these are privately owned, and that's why our electeds can't get in. So before you get too mad at your local electeds, those are owned by the princes and the DeVosses. And so, when I said, was watching saying 4 children have died, we don't even know how many people have died since then. So one of the things I've been doing since then, while trying to be hilarious, is also saying the tough stuff. And so the Trump wood chipper, who here clap if you've experienced bots? Anybody get bots? Okay, so let me just warn you. If you go home tonight and God forbid you're compelled to tweet or post anything saying like, saw at Kathy Griffin and liked her movie or whatever, I apologize in advance because your entire comment line will be robots from Macedonia, and it will be in broken English, and it will be shit like bad lady beaten ISIS. So just know they're not real people. They might be Roseanne. You guys, Roseanne's a Nazi. Does anybody want to take a minute? I know, she's like a real Nazi. And she said she has multiple troll accounts. Like that's one of her things she does all day. All right, that aside.
She runs them herself.
Well, but she doesn't say it's the real Roseanne anymore.
Oh, okay.
So she's got so that's how crazy it is. Like I used to know the non-Nazi Roseanne, as I call her, and that's what's happening. And I'm sure we have all experienced friends or relatives that maybe we can't even talk to right now because it seems so crazy, the shit they believe. So, for example, in the ways, I also feel it's important to be honest about this. It's flattering to me when people think I'm back or anything like that, but the truth is they're keeping this party going in a big way. So I personally have been on these lists, since the photo, and I'm on all these, kill lists and all the right-wing nut jobs I had to educate myself about. And I feel that the virus that has taken over this country is something that we have to really deal with in a more direct way. And I, of course, don't mean violence, mean all people, but I also think that we need to stop, letting newspapers get away with things like, falsehoods. He's lying. They tell lies that are dangerous and they spread them. And so to be even more honest and even more vulgar, I have also ironically painted myself sort of almost more into an unemployable corner, but I also feel like they're just, like I say, I'm 58, I've done stand-up through several administrations, and gone are the days where you could make fun of the jizz on Monica's dress, and, the good old days when you could make fun of the president. And so, having lived through it, it's important that I let you guys know they're not done at all. Like they are just getting rolling. And for example, I'm really proud of myself. I'm in a Twitter war with the Smithsonian. You're welcome. So
juicy.
It's super juicy. Okay, so here's what happened.
Arguably the biggest museum. I'm just saying. You should be proud.
A very respected,
yes,
nationally government-owned, taxpayer-funded. Okay, so. Someone told me about a year ago, and by the way, I love that you guys laughed when Sharon Stone told me to leave the country for 8 years. I haven't gotten to the bottom of that, but I love that it was such a perfect number, and it's so Stony to say that, right?
Right,
It was super definitive.
She's one of my favorite celeb Twitter. We can get into that.
Oh, she's heaven.
Yeah.
Anyway, so over the last, now it's been more than 2 years. Honestly, I've heard a lot of crazy shit. Some stuff that's true and helpful, and some stuff that isn't. Like the true thing was, I have met many retired CIA, retired FBI folks who have been very, very helpful. And one retired CIA officer said, and this was really helpful on the tour. He said, every time you leave a country, you should contact 2 journalists who you met, because I did a million phone interviews and sell tickets and stuff. Contact them, give them your flight itinerary, contact 2 journalists at the country that you're going to, and contact your attorneys at home and 2 independent journalists in the States. And I said, do you mind if I copy you on that? And he was so nice, he said I would be honored. So every single time I got detained in an airport, I had to do this list every time. So I had journos in both countries knowing if I went missing and there was a fucking broke down palace moment, then they would know how to find me. But that's just not what a dick joke telling comedian should have to do. So once again, I fear that if that happened to me, God forbid it could happen to any one of you guys. So for example, over about a year ago, someone told me that the Smithsonian had requested my blue dress. And they had a very detailed explanation and how to preserve it. I must have told that story 50 times. I was so proud of that. So I did an interview for People magazine last week. I fucking got back in. I don't know how I fooled them, but I got back in. It was like a family magazine. Anyway, so I told them that, and they go, well, God love them, they fact checked. They called the Smithsonian, and the Smithsonian said, no, that's not true. So I said, okay, sorry, someone told me this at a party, and I'm really sorry, I did not mean to lie. So then, last fucking Saturday, I see @Smithsonian, with their 2.5 million followers, starts tweeting, no, we never made a request to collect Kathy Griffin's, and by the way, they put it in quotes, blue dress. Like it's not a blue dress. Anyway.
Not a journalist who wrote that.
No, yeah. And they go, and we never will. And I thought, bitch, you don't have a crystal ball. You have no idea what you're gonna collect in my life. Let me tell you, there's a gay and lesbian museum somewhere that's gonna kill for that dress. All right, so anyway, that just happened Friday. So this bitch, Linda St. Thomas, who works at the Smithsonian, whose phone number is on Wikipedia, it's so convenient that I posted it on my Twitter, and also the Wikipedia definition of the Smithsonian, and also the board of directors. And it's interesting, the first name on the board of directors is Chief Justice Roberts, and the second name is Mike Pence. So I'm just saying, know where your taxpayer dollars are going. And, I just had this feeling, even last Saturday, sitting at my house in my PJs, oh no, you fucked with the wrong bitch. This happened once, it's not happening again. So I am very proud, and my publicists were like, really, could you not get in a fight with the Smithsonian? Where's this going? You're taking the focus off everything. And so I then found out that Linda St. Thomas then put it on a different Smithsonian Twitter account, and then she CC'd Frank Luntz, who's a Republican operative, who used to be a pollster, and now he's a straight up Breitbart psycho. And then she CC'd Donald J. Trump. So then the army comes after me again, right? So I have learned, and hopefully I did it with a little wit and flair, but to sort of fight back in real time. And also the days of kind of, the return to civility and all that shit's over for now. So we can get back there. I have faith we can get back there. But for now, it's shirts and skins, motherfuckers, because they are playing in a way that I have never seen in my lifetime. And I'm not saying our team is weak, right? Because we're outnumbered. Sorry, we lost in 2016. We have to accept we lost the Senate. That's why we can't impeach. So back off my Nancy. She doesn't even have the votes in the House. She doesn't. It's simple math. I know. You think she doesn't? Are you kidding me? You think she doesn't want to impeach him? She would fucking love it. So there's a lot of work we got to do to, get our team back in order and hopefully get all 3 branches. But the idea that the Smithsonian would be tweeting against me, and like I said, they haven't ever done that. I mean, I actually looked it up. The last time they ever tweeted to clarify was they tweeted years ago that they did not ask for George Zimmerman's gun. And so I responded to Linda St. Thomas. I said, hi Linda. And then I said, I don't want to be, my blue dress should not be in the company of George Zimmerman's gun, who in my humble opinion was used to murder Trayvon Martin in cold blood. And so that went over well with my relatives. And so
Can we get over the name Linda St. Thomas? The Knots Landing of it.
Is it a
It's
real?
very
Is it a real name?
extreme.
Do you think it was her government? Like, is it her born name or is it
sounds like
adapted?
her author
It's like she
pseudonym or
wants to be on
something.
the Real Housewives of Potomac.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so anyway, it's an interesting thing how it perpetuates in waves. And so one of the questions I get asked a lot is, for some reason people are sort of obsessed with how much money did I lose during this whole thing? And it's ongoing in that, yes, I lost income, because to not make money for 2 years is, I made great money on the tour. The tour grossed $4.4 million, and I say that because I don't want people to think women cannot generate revenue. Okay, we can earn money for you. And yet, I did spend a lot of it on security and stuff like that. So I'm just saying it was obviously very atypical, and I had many, many incidents, especially at my shows in the States. And there's some of them online, and there's a guy who came and tried to pull a knife on me in Houston, and like all kinds of crazy ththings that still happen to this day. So there are ways that I want you guys to be aware. Like when I say stay vigilant, I really mean they are getting worse, and so we need to just really stay vigilant every single minute. And another bizarre situation that's sort of a financial one, and the reason I talk about it is it's part of the public record. My next door neighbor, once again we share a wall, not Kim and Kanye, they were a fucking dream, like seriously, they were a dream. But on the other side, and this tape has been online, but I also brought it for you tonight because I want to show you how to exercise your First Amendment rights well within the boundaries of it. So because it's public, I'm going to play you a 90-second tape, and it's going to sound like a bit because it's so over the top, but I actually want you to hear it because it's my opinion that this is a situation that would have not happened prior to Trump. So, and I'm going to go home tonight. Their house is 50 feet from where I sleep. Okay, so you ready?
This is so clute, these
I know,
recordings.
it's very clute, but it is covered within the First Amendment. So, by the way, this is Jeffrey T. Mesger. He is the CEO of KB Homes. Yeah, take me. And it's a publicly traded Fortune 5000 company.
Hey, Randy, go fuck yourself. Seriously? You called on my grandkids at 9 o'clock? You're not even the fucking owner. You're stuck with a fucking bald dyke who Donald Trump kind of put the heat on. Now you're calling the cops? Fuck you. And fuck Kathy. You're not our fucking neighbor. You're a fucking asshole. What's going on? Let's declare war, asshole, because we got a lot to go for. Randy, what's happening? Let's bring it on, you bitch. Randy, what's happening? If you're asking Randy what's happening, he called cops on my 5-year-old granddaughter, you fucking cunt. Bullshit. 9 o'clock at night. Oh, this party's loud. This party's really happening. Fuck you. I've done enough trying to be a nice partner. Fuck you, neighbor. War is happening. Don't wait until we're going to bring some things on you now. Fuck you.
Fucking horrifying. That's your
Okay.
real life and somebody in your fucking face.
Yeah. So, that is, like I said, I had wanted to be more hopeful prior to this experience, and I had actually thought during the 8 years of Obama, and I think that's why our party takes a lot of heat, because people think we were complicit. No, I think that we thought we were actually making a little progress. I think we thought it wasn't very much, and it wasn't fast enough, but you guys know gay rights actually made some real movement during the Obama years, and I thought the days where CEOs could behave like this were over. And so now this guy and his wife are civilly suing Randy and I for, it's a lot of money, and it's a very, in my opinion, odd situation. So it's next door. So one of the reasons I played that tape is because, especially when he called me a bald dyke, it was 2 days after my sister had passed away. And I just thought, how many times do people call someone bald when they are going through chemo and think it's appropriate or okay, or all that stuff. So I think, you know, obviously I'm not given to politically correct language typically, but on the other hand, we are in this weird place where we want to be sensitive to things that we didn't think we had to be so sensitive to a few years ago, and on the other hand, we still want to be free to be honest and say the difficult and uncomfortable stuff. And I just want you guys to know, just like if you watched the hearings yesterday, we're not out of the woods, and there's, just like in my situation, there was no savior, and Bob Mueller wasn't the savior, and you know, so we have a lot of work to do, and I very much look forward to just being able to make you guys laugh. But this will always be kind of in my DNA a little bit. Like, I'm not going to like read my fucking transcripts and stuff, but you know, I'll always give a nod to this experience because if nothing else, like I said, it's historic in nature. And I do want people to understand your First Amendment rights because I do feel like they're under attack. And we live in Los Angeles, you know, we're kind of used to being in a somewhat liberal environment. Not Orange County, we've gone down there, fucking scary. That piece of shit, Kevin McCarthy. How the fuck did Kevin McCarthy not get primaried? What the fuck? Sorry, I get bitter. But we did flip 11 seats. I'm sorry, I went off brand.
You did a great job, I thought.
Chris.
Right.
Oh, shit.
The real judge is here.
I know. You know what that is? They're actually carrying their money back from the National Mint to their home. And it's all going to Kylie. I'm sorry, Kylie somehow is the billionaire with the B.
To pivot, to gay pivot.
Sorry.
I feel like you have plenty of reason to be disillusioned with the idea of celebrity altogether, to basically not be interested in celebrities anymore. You've conquered the world of celebrities.
You know, don't make me stick up for Faye Dunaway. Do not make me stick up for Faye.
She has enough.
She was having a bad day. She was swatting a flyer. And also Naomi, that phone had slipped out of her hands. Fierce. Savage.
But even after all this, and after like the fallout with certain celebrity friends you've had and stuff, are there still people out there that you are fucking obsessed with, who are like kind of beacons of hope for you in the celebrity universe?
Oh yeah, like I called them all. Like I called Fonda, and she was one.
Yes, Fonda.
Yes, Jane Fonda. Yes. If you haven't seen that HBO series, Jane Fonda in 5 acts, it's fucking riveting. So, like, I gave her a call and I wanted to run by the things. If I'm going to start saying stuff like it's historic, you know, and she's the one who said, like, no, I had problems with the local PD. And then I talked to the comedian David Steinberg, and he said I was on the Nixon list. And he said, but even that, it was a secret. It wasn't like he came out and named the people like Trump does, where he just names people he's going to ruin. So I reached out to as many people as possible. I talked to Steinem a lot. You know, one of the things is, I really, like, you guys are great, but I'm kind of bored with anybody under 90. And you kids are cute, but I really love reaching out to more experienced folks, and especially people, women, gay people, people of color who have, you know, as I say, sort of been through the fire. So I had a lot of those conversations that maybe wouldn't have ever happened if it weren't for this picture. So that's why I don't regret ultimately taking the picture, because it's the picture that I'm still paying the price for in many ways, but it's also the picture that let me play countries that I would never be able to play, and like I said, let me meet people and have conversations that I would never be able to have. And I hope that my comedy from now on has like a little more meat on the bone. Like, I'm always going to be fun and dishy, but it's also a different time. Yeah. And I also would like to not have this be a field where people have to be cautious and walk on eggshells. And I also think, by the way, there's a comedy for everybody. I think it's great if you like a comedian who never curses, or who you know, does props or sketches. I think there's something for everybody. But I do think it's dangerous when you go, I'm just gonna let the president decide this. I know. And you, by the way, like, we didn't have time to get into it. You know, I've known this fool for like 25 years, off and on. And the last time I saw him in person, because he hired me to roast him, so he knew exactly my brand and my gig. And so there's pictures of us online together, and all the Trumpiansies send them to me, and they're like, busted. I'm like, no, I know him. I know this fucking
He was a celebrity.
He was at every fucking TCA on a panel next to me. Are you kidding? All right, so anyway, look, everyone's nervous. They're on show business. They're like, was I there? Anyway, yes. Remember? We normalized him. Anyway, so the last time I saw him, though, and hopefully this is just funny, but we were taking a picture because no matter what he says, he always wanted to be photographed with me, and he never met a celebrity he wanted to be photographed with, so that's all a lie. But last time I saw him, I was proud of myself because I reached up and I touched his nest, and it's so hard, he didn't even feel it. Like, it was, and then I did it again just to test it, and he didn't even feel it. So whatever structure is up there, he is impervious to feeling.
That's actually very surprising to me. It's like a nacre. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed fucking Kathy Griffin.
What about Louis Virtel? Louis Virtel, for God's sake.
Legend. And here's the thing about her, she's gonna keep being a legend. You're never gonna stop, I don't
And
think.
does anyone have a tighter shirt for Louis? Anybody? I'm just wondering. All right, I just can't thank you enough, and I love you guys, and thank you for indulging us and watching it. Thank you, you are
Thanks to Kathy Griffin.
Let me take a picture of us and send it to